So I haven't really watched a lot of college basketball this year, but every time I do, it's because I get an alert on my phone that says, upset alert. X team is about to lose to X team. They're losing by this much with this much time left in the second half. And I get those alerts almost daily. And I'm starting to think that I don't know if there's really anyone that's like there's no really decisive number one team in the nation right now. I mean, okay, so I'm going to name off these teams that have lost. So first off, top 25 teams as of this week that were in the top 25 this week have lost 22 times in the last 10 days. Kansas, Maryland, Michigan State, Miami, Duke, West Virginia, Providence, Virginia, Kentucky, Iowa State, South Carolina, Pittsburgh, Gonzaga, Oklahoma, Xavier, West Virginia, Michigan State, Butler, and Duke. Those are the last 2 weeks, top 25s, and all of those teams have lost. There's all but 3 teams have lost. This, in the last 2 weeks. That's North Carolina, Villanova, and SMU. I'm going to start with SMU first. They should be number one, but they have they have a ban on their team where they can't go to the postseason because Larry Brown is an idiot and he did the wrong thing. And he recruited a player bad, or he did something. I can't remember, honestly. I do know a guy that goes to SMU. He's a transfer from Duke. He's really good, and we played against him in high school, and I think he's redshirting this year, but they have a really good team if he's not even playing. And he was dropping like 80 points a game. Like 4 games in a row, he dropped 80 points in each game. So I think that's really impressive. Larry Brown knows what he's doing recruiting-wise. He just doesn't do it the right way. So North Carolina, obviously, they were number 5 2 weeks ago, and now they're number 2 this week. I'm going to assume they're going to be number 1 next week, barring a loss, I should say. And it was really interesting. The last 2 weeks, the number 1 team has lost. I think both of them were at West Virginia, I'm pretty sure. And then West Virginia lost. And this really begs the question here is, who's the best team in the nation right now? This is more along the lines of parity, like who's got the best, what team's the best in the nation, like anyone can beat anyone parity. It's not like all these teams are bad, they're all really good, they're just, literally every team is really good. And it really goes to show when you have 22 top 25 teams lose in 2 weeks. Or, well, I guess 10 days. So, there's only one team that's undefeated, and that's SMU, but they can't go anywhere. They can't go anything in the conference. And it's really interesting because, you think of these powerhouse teams, like Kansas, they're number 3 now, and they didn't lose this week, but They lost last week to West Virginia, and Kansas, they have 2 losses on the season, and they about lost to Oklahoma. They took them to double overtime, almost triple overtime. But speaking of Oklahoma probably has one of the best, if not the best, player in the nation in Buddy Hield. So you got 2 really good teams that have really good players, and they both lost in the past week. So, and just because they're in the same conference, too, they play each other twice. There's no real definitive best team in the nation, maybe North Carolina, but they haven't really played anyone yet. They haven't played Duke. They've played a couple ACC teams, but they haven't really played anyone insanely good yet. Like I said, they haven't played their Duke game yet. They played NC State and lost that. I think, yeah, they lost to NC State. And NC State plays Duke tomorrow, Saturday. So I think, just thinking about it, there's really, there's a lot of top 25 matchups. On Saturday the 23rd, Maryland and Michigan State play. That's a 7-11 matchup. And that might be the best game of the weekend. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, North Carolina's lost 2 games. They've lost to I mean, they haven't even played they played one top 25 team, that was UCLA, and then they barely beat NC State. Who'd they lose to? I can't see who they lost to. Maybe it's before. They lost to Texas right back in early December. They did play Maryland, which is also a really good team. They got a super, super good team. The other team UNC lost to is Northern Iowa. So they did beat number 2 Maryland at the time. So they've played 2 top 25 teams since like the season started. So, I mean, they haven't slouched on their scheduling, but I can't really say definitively North Carolina's the best team in the nation, as they still haven't played Louisville. They haven't played Notre Dame. They haven't played Duke. They haven't played Miami. And they haven't played Virginia yet, or Syracuse even. So that's, I guess, what I'm kind of getting at is we don't know who. There is no definitive number 1 now, but come tournament time, someone will have to come up there and step up and be number 1 overall and be all the 4 seeds. But I think this tournament's going to be one of the best in the league or recent memory, because no one can beat. There's no one that you're like, oh, they're going to beat them. They're going to beat this team. They're going to beat every team. They're going to win it. No way they don't win it, kind of thing. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, like I said, that since there's only one undefeated team left and they're not even postseason eligible, that I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the bracket, like how they set it up. Do they have Kansas at number 1? Who else is in their bracket section, or in their region, and all that stuff? That's going to be the most interesting thing of the year, is their bracketology, because I don't know really who deserves 1 seeds. I don't know really who deserves 2 seeds. Who gets ranked too low? Who gets ranked too high? That kind of thing. And I think it's just going to be an interesting March Madness this year. And this is a lot like the, I think it was 2010 or 12. 2012, I think it was when UConn made that run where they came out of the Big East on fire and made it all the way to the championship as like a 8 seed or whatever it was. And that might happen again this year. Whoever catches fire in the conference tournament might win it. Could be like another UConn year kind of thing. Or could be someone else. Could be whatever. Or I think it was 2014 actually. But whatever. Like I said, when they had Kemba Walker and UConn just made that run, I think it's going to be another year like that where anyone can win it and you don't really know. There's some favorites to win it, but there's not really like 2 years ago we're like, oh, Kentucky's going to the Final Four. Kentucky's going to the finals. Obviously they didn't win it that year when they were like 40-0 or 40-1 or 41-1 or whatever it was. And like when they just went undefeated the regular season, and then everyone's like, oh, they're going to win it. They have the best team in the nation kind of thing. There's no team like that. Whoever really gets hot coming out of the conference tournaments and stuff is going to win the tournament this year. That's my opinion. I don't know what's going to happen in the conference tournament, so I can't say who's going to win it or whatnot, but I think that's how it's going to roll this year. It's going to be one of those years, and that's always a good thing. At least I think so.